As mainland Chinese travel abroad during the National Day holiday, the government has gone to extraordinary measures to make sure tourists are on their best behavior. I'm Deborah Kahn. Joining me now is Colm Murphy, reporter joining us from Shanghai. Okay, Colm, so this is a booklet that was released by China's National Tourism Administration. What exactly was inside?
Well, it's a 64-page booklet, quite comprehensive, uh, animated so that people can understand exactly what the message is. And the message is clearly, the usual sort of behavioral issues such as don't pick your nose, don't sneeze, don't cough, etc. So these are the more typical ones. But there's also a range of other guidelines in there that are actually kind of amusing insofar as my favorite, for example, is don't dry your underwear on the lampshades when you're staying at a hotel. Other ones include don't remove the life vest from an aircraft, don't steal it. So stuff like that. So it's quite comprehensive. And there's also some country-specific advice. For example, in Spain, and this one again is a little bit interesting in that I've never heard this before personally, but they say in Spain, for example, ladies, when they're going out in the evening, should be careful to ensure that they're wearing earrings. Otherwise, in Spain, that's considered a cultural no-no.
Oh, really? I actually never knew that one myself. So when we were looking at the kind of the cartoon caricatures in this booklet, it's quite amusing when you look at it. But when you really think about it, it's actually kind of insulting as well. Any reaction from Chinese tourists?
Well, we've had some comments already on the story, and basically people are saying, Chinese people, yes, we do have our faults, but so does everybody else. So, leave us alone. And there is some validity to that, and certainly we wouldn't want to be, poking fun at Chinese people just for the sake of it. But the fact that the government has actually issued a 64-page booklet does suggest that this is a problem, and the government has recognized that, and that they seem to be aware that there's a need to at least try to educate travelers, Chinese travelers, how to behave when overseas. And in that respect, I think it's kind of quite commendable, really, that they are taking steps to try to improve their image abroad.
And a lot of this has to do, of course, of national pride inside the country. But a while back, there was a video that went viral of a Chinese tourist in an airport just exploding in a rage of anger. So, I mean, any sense of whether or not incidents like these, which were, did travel through the web, had anything to do with the need for what the government felt was necessary to release this booklet?
Well, I'm not sure if there's a direct connection there. I mean, in this particular case that you've just shown, that was a political advisor, and he basically, as you can see, just lost it. But traveling domestically within China on airlines here is very, very trying, as you well know, probably. Long delays and massive scope for frustrations. So if somebody behaves like that while they're overseas, for example, in the United States, well, then you can be, sure that that will not be tolerated. So in that respect, preventing behavior like that is definitely more important, perhaps, than the sort of personal habits such as picking your nose or coughing in public.
Okay, and one reason I presume Chinese tourists are getting so much attention is just the sheer growth in tourism as China's middle class expands. Heaps more, people can afford to travel abroad. I think in 2012 it was something like 83 million tourists Chinese citizens went abroad. Any sense of how much that is growing or the potential growth there going forward?
Well, that particular figure, I believe, was up 18% on the previous year. What we are seeing is not only are the numbers growing, but the destinations are becoming more and more diversified. And we're seeing a lot of people heading towards Southeast Asia. One reason for that is because it's affordable. You don't need to fly the whole ways to Europe or to North America. So lots of younger people especially are heading to Southeast Asia. Unfortunately, they're bringing many of the habits there too. For example, I was speaking to a hotelier last week in Langkawi in Malaysia, and she basically told me that every time the phone rings from a room that has a group of Chinese guests, her stomach is basically sinks because she knows that there's going to be some kind of problem. Either they've clogged up the bathroom, or they've damaged some property. I mean, obviously this is an extreme case, and not everybody is doing that, but it is indicative of some of the reactions from around the world. I also think it's important that we stress that there are servers out there that say that the Chinese are not the worst behaving tourist internationally, and that sort of title goes to the Russians or the British or even the Americans are obviously have managed to upset many people when they've traveled abroad too.
Okay, thanks very much. Colin Murphy joining us from Shanghai. For more on that story, you can go to WSJ.com. I'm Deborah Kahn.